Hmm. Hello, everyone. Right. Let me begin with something simple. Raise your hand, at least in your mind, if you believe you chose to listen to this lecture. It feels obvious, doesn't it? You decided, you acted, you could have done otherwise, but here is the unsettling question for you. What if that feeling is wrong? What if the experience of choosing is real, but the freedom behind it is not? So, tonight in this lecture, we're going to explore one of the deepest questions in philosophy, neuroscience, and law. Is free will real, or is it a useful illusion? Now, in part one, let's start with the classical debate. The problem of free will is ancient, and philosophers like Aristotle believed humans possess rational agency. Later, thinkers such as Rene Descartes, okay, I'm going to write it down his name. And what he argued is that the mind exists independently of physical causation. So the mind exists, but it's independently of physical causation. That's what it says. So it's mind exists, but free from physical causation. Sorry, I spell it wrongly. Okay, so that's what he says. But the modern science arrived. Then what happened? Physics describes a world governed by laws. Biology describes organisms shaped by genetics. Neuroscience describes behavior arising from neural processes. Now, ponder this. If every event has a cause and every brain state arises from prior brain states, where exactly does free will enter? So, where exactly does free will enter? And this is the determinist challenged. Okay, so that was part one would be like um, determinist challenge. All right, now let's move on to the next one, part number two. Right, part number two. It's about neuroscientific shock, part two. I'm gonna put it here. So, um, under here, in the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet, I'm going to write it down, his name here. So in 1980, you can, if you want to know, you can search more. 1980, and his name is Benjamin Libet. And if you want to know a little bit more of who he is, you can check it out by yourself. You can search it. And what he say and what he say and what he did was he conducted a now famous experiment. And participants were asked to flex their wrist, yeah, whenever they felt like it. So brain activity called the readiness potential was detected before participants reported consciously deciding to move. So even before they were, right? It's like even before they raised their both arms, the brain activity recorded as the readiness potential. It was detected even before participants consciously deciding to move. So the brain appeared to initiate action milliseconds before awareness. So before we do something, the brain has already been decided. And then we take action. So action, it's before a milliseconds before any action happens. So later studies extended this finding. Some research suggests that neural patterns can predict a person's decision several seconds before conscious awareness. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it intriguing enough? Like conscious awareness before the conscious awareness. So someone realized something is going on and the brain has already foreseen it. The brain has already decided. So this type of implication is unsettling. Your brain may decide before you do. Is conscious choice merely a narrative added after the fact? So this is something to consider, to think about. And part 3 is the illusion hypothesis. Right. Part 3 is the illusion hypothesis. Some contemporary thinkers argue yes, and neuroscientist Sam Harris, and I'm going to put his name down here. You can do a search later on if you want to know who he is. So the neuroscientist Sam Harris contends that free will is an illusion because we do not choose our thoughts, desires, or predispositions. So now here, what is predispositions? Predisposition refers to an inherent inclination, tendency, or susceptibility towards a special behavior, attitude, or physical condition. It implies being pre-ordered or put in order beforehand, influencing future reactions. So something is likely to happen which is inherent, which comes from within, inherent inclination. That is called predisposition. So you do not choose your genes, your childhood, your culture, the thoughts that just enter your mind. If every choice arises from prior causes outside your control, then the ultimate freedom seems impossible. Under this view, the sense of authorship is a psychological construct, convincing, powerful, but perhaps incomplete. Now, let's go to part number 4. The compatibilist response. So not all philosophers agree that determinism eliminates freedom. Now, if you do not know what is determinism, I will explain to you in a bit. I'm going to write it down. Determinism. So determinism refers to a system a process or theory where the outcomes entirely determined by initial conditions. Meaning the same input always produces the same result with no randomness. So which has been predestined already. Yeah. So it's like it's a predictable cause and effect relationship where future states are fated or preordained or predestined. So that is that is called deterministic. And so where was I? Yeah. So not all philosophers agree that determinism eliminates freedom, enter compatibilism. So philosophers like David Hume, he's a philosopher also. I'm going to write his name down. David Hume argued that freedom does not require metaphysical independence from causation. Oh. So freedom means acting according to your reasons and desires without external coercion. In modern philosophy, thinkers like Daniel Dennett, yeah, he's also a thinker. I'm going to write his name down. He argued that free will is an emergent property of complex systems. You may not be uncaused, but you are a self-regulating system capable of reflecting on reasons, deliberating, anticipating consequences, modifying behavior. So here in this word, deliberating, so deliberating, what is the meaning of deliberating? It refers to the process of carefully considering, discussing, or weighing options before making a decision, often involving logic and deep thought. It's deliberate, it has intention. Deliberating is the process. So that's one of the factors. So freedom, then, it's not absence of causation. It is structured self-governance. Now, let's move on to the next part, which is part 5. The brain as hierarchical system. It means the brain acts in step by step. Let us return to neuroscience. The brain is not a single decision maker. It is a hierarchy of systems, impulses from subcortical structures. Okay, I'm going to write it down. So this is the medical term, so it will be cleared off if I just subcortical structures, if I write it down. Impulses from subcortical structures. So what is subcortical structures? Subcortical structures are a diverse collection of gray matter nuclei and white matter tracts located deep within the cerebral cortex within the brain. So they are evolutionarily older than neocortex, 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 and are essential for meditating emotions, memory, motor control, like the way you control your hands and your feet, and basic physiological homeostasis. So this is called subcaudal structure, which is in the brain. And that is impulses. So the hierarchy systems consist of three things. The first one is impulses from subcortical structures. The second one is from emotional valuation from limbic regions. The second one is limbic regions. And the third one is executive control from the prefrontal cortex. Right. The prefrontal cortex enables delayed gratification, rule following, and abstract reasoning. So this word, delayed gratification, we learned in my previous lecture, where a person has the capacity to wait for a greater rewards. It means like the person has the capacity to wait now to receive or to reward with a bigger things or a better thing. And when you override an impulse, when you resist temptation, that is neural conflict resolution. Yeah, it may be caused, but it is still you. The question becomes, if the self is a biological system, why assumed it must be uncaused to be real? Now, let's go to the next part. Part number 6 is about the social importance of free will. Whether or not free will exists, metaphysically, belief in free will have consequences. So even studies show that when people are primed to doubt free will, they are more likely to cheat, behave aggressively, reduce effort. Belief in agency correlates with responsibility. Legal systems, education systems, and moral systems assume that individuals can choose. Without some form of agency, concepts like justice and accountability destabilized. Even neuroscientists who question free will often still operate within systems that require it. So this suggests something important. Free will may function as a as a social technology. Now, part number 7. Rethinking the self. Okay, what is rethinking the self? Perhaps the real mistake lies in how we frame the problem. We imagine free will as a ghost in the machine, a metaphysical spark outside causality. Causality. But what if freedom is not about escaping causation? What if it is about complexity? A thermostat responds to temperature. A human reflects and reasons. Both are caused, but only one can deliberate. And the philosopher Harry Frankfurt, yeah, introduced the idea of second order desires. Henry Frankfurt. Person is free when they can evaluate and endorse or reject their own motivations. This capacity for meta reflection may be the heart of human agency. Now, let's move on to the next part. The illusion that works. Part number 8. Now we return to our title. Is free will a useful illusion? Suppose for a moment that ultimate metaphysical freedom does not exist. Suppose every thought is caused. Even then, we still experience conflict, deliberation, responsibility, regret. These experiences shape behavior. They regulate societies. They motivate growth. An illusion that organizes moral life may be functionally indispensable. But perhaps it is not an illusion at all. Perhaps it is an emergent property, real at the level of persons, even if not fundamental at the level of particles. Now, let's look at the next topic, part number 9. A new framing. Instead of asking, are we free from causation? We might ask, what kind of causation allows self-regulation? Human beings are dynamic systems capable of modeling the future, imagining alternatives. And what else? And modifying action accordingly. Even if our decisions arise from neural processes, they arise from our neural processes. The brain is not separate from the self, it is the self. So, as in conclusion, let's let the freedom reconsider. So, let me end the lecture with this thought. The debate over free will often swings between two extremes. The first one is absolute metaphysical freedom, and the second one is total deterministic helplessness. So these are the two things. Okay. So total deterministic helplessness. So absolute mental, physical freedom. Absolute mental, physical freedom. So what is the mental, physical freedom? It's the quality or state of being without thought or restraint, bondage, limitation, or repression, having a sense of complete well-being. So it's like it's a result of regulating one's life according to principle, not according to what anyone else may think or say. So that is called metaphysical freedom. And the total deterministic helplessness. But perhaps the truth lies in between. We are shaped by biology, influenced by culture, bound by physics, and yet we reflect, we deliberate, we change. Right? Here, right, the second one is total deterministic helplessness. It's like a profound psychological state learned helplessness, where an individual believes they are powerless to influence to influence to influence negative outcomes due to past experiences of uncontrollable stressors. So that is deterministic helplessness. In fact, right, in reality, they are not being helplessness. They can be helped. They can be helped by someone or something. But in their preconceived mind, they have already thought that deterministic helplessness is or the reason of the previous or predescended encounterance, they become helplessness. So when we look at it here, it's more towards like everything flows from our mind and the way how we think. Right. So as a conclusion, free will is not the power to step outside causation. Maybe it is the power to become a cause, the power to influence the future through structured reflection, whether illusion or emergent reality. The experience of agency defines human life. And the challenge is not proving that we are uncaused. The challenge is cultivating the kind of minds capable of wise causation, and that responsibility, cause or not, remains ours. So we are capable, our minds capable of wise causation. Wise causation, so it means, we have the systematic way or systematic ways or methods to have cause and effects. Right. So this will be the end of my lectures for tonight's video. I'll see you in my next class with a new intriguing lecture topic. So I see you in my next video, and bye-bye. God bless you bountifully in every aspect of your life. Bye-bye.